Check. Check. 1, 2. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. Speaker doesn't work.
little bit. So they don't get up and degree. Sanje chodai in chono lai chanju bardo dane chopsun dai jin jin so in jin be so no in jin do lai penzer sanje do bai sho sanje chodai so jin chono chanju bardo dane chopsun che dai jin jin so in jin be Sano injen do la penzer sanjen do bar sho sanjen chot sujin chono la jong chu bar do dane chop sun che danje Sano injen do la penzer sanjen do bar sho semjen tamjen dewa dain dewe inju dain dembar inju Dongain dain dongain jen ju dain tawain jurje dongain me ben dew tambain dain me tawain jurje nyeren chadain ye dain taw Tanyan chimbo lai nemba yun jen chazai wadain chujin shamban dain jesoi yerang kazin sowa Yewa Jungzen Da Yin Jisa Ba Zon Je Da Zon Cha Che Mo Sa She Pe Je Chong Je Men Da Re Ra Ling Che Nye De Yen Ba De San Je Shin Da Me De Po Ai Do Ge Nom Da Shen La Che Ba Sho Semje namje samban dan loye cheda cheta chejun tumoy tekba ye cheje korlo kordo so de zom zom je dam je je ngo rido jengre jamse chada kadin sunda manje ba tenje bam ga la me yep je do trama me ba la ngo rab do te de go sang ge ba je be sa sai je jap sun chiu Jiwani zero tom je don rawa me pa je so song do so da so sem je tom je lo chi son rawa sen je lab do so chi lam don rawa sen je lab do lan tro wa so wa sen je lab do so tro wa ye ye son cha wa sen je lab do so to pe da je tro wa sen je lab do tu ji chen je men par sen je lab do so ten re thap lang ke par sen je lab do so re se tan don dem Senje labdo so namda kanga seje sa ye te tenzi pa mere len ke benze her ne de no yin chi gus tum jo den gen de lang ge san sai ye zeng ka lan che re jen ge je ze be tong de ze len la po jar ve te mo ke ne san ze
Kajurumbo Chilanga Sansa, Dojin Chongji, Tilo Naruto, Mapamala, Chuji Gumbo Pa, Tisam Chibandam Gayasis, Kajula Manolanga Sansa, Pati Dojin Chong, Rikuchabdalama, Karmamba, Chinkar Kunjin Jone, Sekirpanje, Yada Doji, Nanjarama, Chulu Kunji Sipo, Unjir Chujo, Pechi Jondala, Nanjir Siji, Kupindu, Tondame Tuji, Chonghanzo, Umichi Ji, Podona, Tisam Songji, Kunji, Ngoye, Ronsen Chikungan, Sam Tenze, Savila Menshala, Survanda, Dasun Ravala, Chula, Jo, Namaya Tamba, like Ketan Lodon Zike, Truanda, Me, Kenando, Rova Kunji, Daka Chazamba, Tom Jiki, the Chun de Tuba, Jo, Susundanga, Jandra, Chechin, Yasume Bangshore, Jilaso. Sim Jin Ten Do Nyo Do Da Zena, Tomba Nan Je Nun Tu Za Do So. Good morning, everyone. Happy to see again. Tene Chunimbe Tomar Kazan Kondi Shiba Nanji, Kolong Pekachin Bayindu.
Whenever we listen to any dharma practice or dharma scripture, before that we have to have the motivation. So that's very important part.
Jenson, Kasang Lava Nanji, Narangsu Tatring. Yang jadon dala Toma Chudu number Linchin Zanne, Teni Tambichu Samola, Tusum Gonsum Senamanda, Yomli Zoji Yojindi, Teni Karekchedu Zogo Yosena, Tene Nangpado Yombe Semji Tamji, Nomshi Yontabo Sonji Comporumbochi Tobasavi Chedola, the Darani Sonji Compon Togo Gendo. Ti chedala ta rengan sama yin soni ti tensu chene remind chene te chachi khachang ta dala tene gan jaru chis.
As we discussed yesterday, why we are being collected here is we have that motivation or bodhicitta that we generate for the sake of all living beings to be liberated, and for that I would like to attain the Buddhahood, and for the sake of that we are being here. So we have to remind ourselves that at first.
Actually, we have to remember that who am I and why I'm here. The first question is, who am I? Think of that in your mind and give me answer for that. Okay. Tine kain ko ngarang ni chitang tadangi chawati karchen tongwesena kulhong tongpin tadangi kulhong sandap sok se te ton directone te che number te lions.
Why I am asking this question is just to be connect with the motivation that we are carrying. Who are you and why are you here? To connect with the motivation of yours.
Who am I? Said Lane Tela Cargorsena, Chorong Kulong Tandrava Imbasonsam, Tembana Cartain Goinsina, Nga Tanong Bachins, take volunteers.
When we ask, who are you? At that time, what you have to feel yourself or what you have to say to yourself is, I am a volunteer.
Tati volunteer, Karik volunteer it's not volunteer for keeping office work. And Mares, Taganangi ki leka 직딩 레간 텐사 센터 충충충충 텐다키 체돌라 volunteer mares.
When we say ourselves as a volunteer, we are not saying that I'm a volunteer of Kiwi or any sort of mundane small works.
Mares, right? And Tati volunteer tela leka jigotso shuji ngin jigotso shuji yanki res.
What we have is a very big responsibility, very heavy duty.
Te karesena roa nangpa to nyombe semjin tamjela tene pende male penjong zobu sonji kampo rumbo chi te tenke te drumke ki tene volunteer chi res ta.
What kind of volunteer we are is we are that volunteer who take responsibility to take all the living beings to the Buddhahood.
Ti volunteer the kadu chason su volunteer zog resena ngarang soki pecha jawa ina se pecha jawa ina 가장 아주 니 담보라 장 이hin of 근드네 왕 쇼드네 담보 송청조도 샘제세야 진도 어 샘제서 드니 되네 volunteer 조 자가 요레스.
So how we become this kind of volunteer is, yes, just before yesterday, when Karmapa gave us that bodhicitta, since then we are that volunteer.
대 지당 때 온등이 빼야 지당 whenever we receive the bodhicitta vow, we take bodhicitta vow. That means we are committing to be great volunteer for all living beings. It's in the Shanti Deva's book, the Madhyamakāvatāra, I said, Daki Tring Chopa Tom Che Chengandrava Dehini Donapa Dilandran Pusichi Lado Lamilaso Gavaraji means I today in front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I'm taking this bodhicitta to benefit for all sentient beings, which means I'm becoming great volunteer for all sentient beings freely, joyfully. Therefore, all gods, nagas, human beings, and all the devas, please rejoice with me because I am becoming a great person. So that kind of commitment we have done, in the past, whenever we receive the bodhicitta. Wow. So that is not easy task to do. It's difficult. But on the other hand, it's not difficult. It's just mind training. Mind is easy to train. 현장 되네 나서 배 개침부 레가 침부 큰기 있기 때문에 volunteer 되어야지.
That's the reason we are very heavy duty conducting kind of volunteer.
다디 volunteer 임바데 템버치스다.
We have to remind ourselves that we are this big volunteer.
다 volunteer 캘린조 차도 되네 레가 드롭 고거래. 디 드롭 고데 되네 샘진 탐제가 단돌라 레가 침보지 드롭 고데 드롭지 디양 손지지 컴파운드 떼가 요세가 대완타도. 디 테퍼 세발라 라니를 티 누바도 고데 되네 다 라니 tombo 상지지 컴파운드 터버서게 인스.
As we have this big commitment, now commitment is easy, but we have to bring into action. And for that, we need to attain the Buddhahood.
To benefit all sentient beings, right? Our responsibility for that commitment is to bring the Buddhahood for all living beings. So the first, I must to attain complete Buddhahood to bring, or for me to able to provide the kind of ultimate happiness of the Buddhahood to sentient beings. I myself first must attain to Buddhahood. That is the very important motivation to have all of us. Jensom, teni atrengan denalas chuni bado sombazo jinde sanji kampung. Semji tampitan topache de yin samte semli jani gamdais jaruchis.
So now we are going to do it practically, thinking that for the sake of all living beings to be enlightened, today I am going to practice this dharma, or listen to this and contemplate on it. So having this in our mind, we are going to meditate.
Please do meditation on basically bodhicitta, to generate bodhicitta for a while. Okay. 다 그래서 해주 저도 오만족과 임보 선산 되네 다 가도 가서 만들잖아 되네 지당 땜주 배차 가래 잠바이나 응고는 첩주세야 지당 되네 의지 거랑 지 되는 족 conclusion 세야로 대치 sam고토는 돌리 룩수지 요다레스 자벨라마 스페자 잠바이나.
Now, as we entering to the middle way, or we're going to the text itself, in any sort of commentaries, there is a tradition of firstly going to the homage stage or praising the masters, and there is a conclusion stage.
Preparation part and actual and conclusion part, 3 parts of the text that and tang hunro telandi umanjupan rawina tatanga chu pesha yo devandi nona karento sena chubju ni raw chindos kan sena chekti capture ke translator ke and chubju chek tang teniti mas tenala kanyang ko temchi tsamba poki chubju ndos tandesu kan sena hunru chatela temchi korong hunru chatel tonre ndos.
In our preliminary stage or in our homage stage, there is 2 ways to pay homage. First one is from the translator to the master, and the second one is from the author himself to his way of paying homage.
Tini capture ke the jagar sanskrit ke pocket so jongki te pasab lochawa se te lochawa res te khang ke ndi jambe yong la chopar jokin dos.
And the translator who translated this text from in Hindi language to Indian to
Sanskrit.
India to Sanskrit to Tibet, Pastor Locha has paid homage to Arya Manjusri.
Yeah, take load. Papan jambar jona chopar sansala sara.
Homage to Manjusri Kumara, tender, glorious, ever youthful.
Papan jambar jona chopala sansala se. Tati chigre jona do penna manju shiri kumara se nan jambar yono se kumara se ati yonora manju shiri horere manju shiri se di jambal se netene telente he javyore se manju tin jamra shiri ti palre ti indi jam se ati kare se na manju shin jam se ati so dodo he wa yona jambe yon konke nyamu peke nyep tsubik se chora nyamong to so chek tsupon rawara o tiki tripa to so chachang pang samba samba ene njamba manzu se yores consent te tores.
If we have to translate it from Tibetan direct translation, then the jam it means the tender. Why he is tender is because he had overcome all the harshness of the negative defilements That's why he is a tender.
Yeah, in Sanskrit, his name is Manju, right? Manju. In Tibetan, we call Njam. It's tender. Teni shiri yores, shiri ti pal, pusum sopa. Teni tek katang koresina kong tuju le yobiki. Yontin toso tang yores, yontin tape mombo yore te, teni zote, teni chetawan chemba to, chenhipan chemba sin, donan chemba nyingte, ke zartuma tsong zodu yoba sungsam, teni pat pusum sopa dembares.
And when we talk about the Jampal, or the Pal means he is glorious. Why he is glorious is because he have obtained all the qualities that is required to be enlightened. That's why he is glorious.
Ti nyingki manju shiri tsai nying karetang yoresina, jambe yongki tuju la pangwa posam sopa sena pangwa tse tsama pang tsawa te karitang koren tsik tongbo te ke manju jambo chaya te res. Tsik nyingba te ke tso to goju te tsama to yoba tang yores.
This word Manjusri, what it shows is he has forbidden or forsaken all the negativities that we need to forsake and obtained all the qualities that we need to obtain. That's why this is to symbolize that.
Jampal teni yonu sindo te kumare sindo yonu res.
When we say Kumara in Sanskrit word, it means he is youthful.
Te kang ngone jeba yena 두섬지 상제 탐제레 나사 토 토마르티 콩테네 송중초도 토제네 점배 용게 건방 거롱 톱 차와지레스 대임바 송삼 두섬 상제 탐제 그 동보 송중초 토제사 등 점배 용 인상요레스.
All the why we're saying first of all, he is the first among the three Kalas Buddha to generate the bodhicitta.
From him, right? Yinayang Hong Kote Lo Chimbochaya, the Degudo Tavares, Geamewa, Searoka. Yono Lo Chudugamba Chinchi Koron Loselatana, Tado Yodevares.
Even though he is the first among all the Buddhas to generate bodhicitta, he is ever youthful.
As teenage, like 16 years old.
That's why we are praising him with the word Kumara. For that reason, the translator who translated this script from India to Tibet, he prays to Manjusri to prevent any sort of hindrances that could come across during his translation period. That's the paying homage of the translator. Now it comes that the actual author of this book who prays, who has his own homage. Now we are going to enter into this.
That makes it Sumbola
in the first verses, it had shown that the worthy of being praised, which is the three causes of the bodhisattvas. And Even in those verses, there is one verse where he has specially praised the great compassion. I'm going to recite the verse where it says, "The Sravakas and those halfway to Buddhahood are born from the mighty sage, and Buddhas take their birth from Bodhisattva heroes. Compassion, non-duality, the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake are causes of the children of the conqueror." If you have this text, then please try to see the words itself. And after reciting this verse, when we say the hearer and the self Buddhas or Pratyeka Buddhas, how they are born, if there is a question like that, then they are born from the Buddha.
And those halfway to Buddhahood say
And when we say Sravakas, that means they are hearer. And when we say the halfway to Buddhahood, that means the self-realized or the Pratyeka Buddhas. They are the in the Hinayana vehicle.
Confused halfway to Buddhahood say
Even it has written in a little bit confusing way. It means that the Rangsange, which means the Pratyeka Buddhas or self-realized.
Halfway to Buddhahood say Langwa chekala lepjenda uchi tiki da tanda karna kor se na nyenthu le tokpan tho sanji ji kompon sanji nangji ke tokpa tamachi ba yamba sonsa tana halfway labya res.
There is a little bit confusion in this way of writing, but what it actually means is the self-realized ones has a little bit higher realization than the Sravakas, but they are not yet to the level of ultimate realization. That's why it is said to be the middle, intermediate Buddha or halfway to the Buddhahood.
The translate is halfway. Still so many kilometers to reach it. Halfway. Right? Tine mando titso kavantrons are born from the mighty sage. Mighty sage means sanjires.
When we say the mighty says, that means the Buddha. They are born from Buddha. And how they are born, if one asks, then they are born from the speech of the Buddha.
Demjaka dan dang demba ye dan la so ba mangbo tuba je tene kawasapa thamata so le nyamle jeba la tene ndona khona be dacham ko mo thamro ko yore the ba sonsam do do shena sangje ko sang le jiba yin sang yore.
Then how they attain that is they firstly they listen to the Buddha's teachings, and they practice the 12 dependent origination and all the practices, and later on they became 4 destroyer.
Or arahats, right? They attend their according to their result. That is Sanjil and Tunser. And Buddhas take their birth from the Bodhisattvas or heroes. Sanje Changcho Sambalen Tongres.
And Buddhas are born from the bodhisattvas.
산지 상초 선발엔 총 세대 값스 간트스 총으로세나 되네 내급 체버당 용선 점버 체버스 된 송여래
There is a difference in the momentary difference and the ultimate difference.
됐으리마스 but ultimately 요말 momentary 간세 내급 체버스야디 가능세나 뺀나 상지에 पेछायावाइना मतलब सा लेमरोदी kapsula sa chuba ke pongto tha chimbala tene sangji ji kampong sa chukchi thopsong res.
When we say Buddha, that means he is in the ground of no more learning and he has attained over the 10 bhumis.
Ti jut kawale tene chong resena khatok shibaina sa tongbo pongto tha chimbala tene kho sa chukchi thop res.
And how they attain that 10 bhumis or 10 stages is they first practice the first bhumis.
Buddhahood is called 11th bhumit. The 11th bhumit he attained because of he completed 10th bhumit practices. That become cause for 11th bhumit or Buddhahood. And the 10th bhumit he attained as Bodhisattva, the last stage of Bodhisattva, because of he completed and completed 9 bhumis practices. So every bhumis, early one to become the cause for later one. So that means actually Buddha comes from Bodhisattvas stages and levels. That's why it is said that the Buddha take birth from the here. Buddha take birth from bodhisattvas, heroes, means like that. So then the Songchu Samba also Kawalen Chong Resena, any compassion, Ninji Samton, Nisume Beloton, Songchok Sam, or Tisam Tene, the Songchu Samba to Songchong Res.
As we now know that Buddhas were born from bodhisattvas, then we're going to again analyze how bodhisattvas were born. And if we see the cause, then it is compassion, non-dualistic view, and the bodhicitta.
Hindi said that you just said no Jews. The Sancho Sambananta, the Jusumbola Tini Changres, the Jusumbo take Sawang Mamati Karesena, Ninji Chimbo Toduyores.
And as we analyze that bodhisattvas are born from compassion, non-duality, and bodhicitta, and even in those, if we analyze, the first very fundamental thing is the compassion itself.
Of Buddhahood, the Holocan Imbati,
now I'm going to recite the second verse is, of Buddhahood's abundant crop, compassion is the seed. It is like moisture bringing increase and is said to ripen in the state of lasting happiness. Therefore, to begin, I celebrate compassion.
Chanza Ninji Sante Pe Kechembores Jumsi Tagi Count Shebanang Rela Pena Seven Lotu Pusum Supache Raparala Tene Kachimbo Some Yores Tonta Pada Kachimbo Jalason. Ninji the Tinda Chadiores Sonji Compont Toprasebala.
As we have already discussed, the compassion is very important. And for example, if you want to have a great fruition, for that we need 3 important ingredients. First of all, we need to have the seed. And in the to flourish it, we need to have water. And the third part is we need that fruition of it. We have the fruition.
Oncho sem ka tsawa de hinji res ti indi thomar kachewa hinji de samenda uchi res.
If we have to attain the Buddhahood, then first and foremost, we need to have the bodhicitta, which is the most important part.
Bodhicitta res, bodhicitta ka tsawa de hinji res.
And the essence of bodhicitta is compassion.
Tene pardola thomar sonjo chodo semje. Pardo lam nyam se lembe tsena sa do lam ji remba ya rodi kapso ina yang. Tene hinji ka sui tabne hinji yang no yong do nyamle ji yang no yong do nyamle ma che ba ina. Tene revel yarje chagi yo mares penna saven tab so di chulo ni ya ji go nang ji ki. Tene hinji yong nyamle ma che ba ina. Tene lam yarje mro ya don lam lopara hlung ya le nyinga yo res. Indi pardo ka chewa chunong ji res.
And even we have a great bodhicitta or great compassion in the beginning, but if we don't do the if we don't keep on practicing that bodhicitta or compassion, then it won't flourish. So whenever we are practicing, or even we have already attained some bhumis, but if we live from that compassion, then we won't be able to flourish that much. That's why it is also important in the middle.
Tama kachewa pen loto pusum soba de ngaso longs jogo no loto pusum soba gogro koronjewa. O te nangji ke tene satonlam jian de tamje kompat don ro sam maze ba kan thana pet chayawa ina sangji ji kompo top chadu yong semji ge don roden chile pe mesi traje ba chago na niji chembo te lamji kapsolo nyomne chembo zo yawa la soba pe rale de res ti inde tama kachewa res.
And to have a greater harvest, we have to have that essence or the element. Just like that, when we attain the Buddhahood, even after attaining the Buddhahood, if we have practiced compassion in our way, in a very deep way, then that will help us to have a greater activities. And that also depends on how we had a compassion in our earlier stages of practice itself.
Yes, that's very important. Of course, Buddha's wish and aspiration is always benefit for sentient beings. But we can see some Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can have more activities and benefit for sentient beings. And some we can see like not much, but that is very much dependent on how much they have practiced compassion and again and time to time on the way to Buddhahood. So therefore, compassion is very, very important from at the beginning, at the middle, and at the end. As like when we have to harvest, when we plant the seed. So for its the seed is important from beginning, and the water is important. That's at the middle. And then lastly, we have the result of first as we use for it, right? So compassion is like that. That's why Candrakīrti, from the beginning of his composition of this text, he homage to the compassion, particularly. Of course, the three causes of bodhisattvas, particularly is specific to therefore to begin, I celebrate to compassion. So compassion is very important. Oh, no need to do that. Okay. Da tene hinji ti kechi mo yimba songsam tene nga chu nyomlen tong jarne ma hinji nyomlen zo tong ti zon tes kegi yins tene nga chu tes nyomlen zo going those.
As we just before said, the compassion is a very important part of practice. Now we are going to bring into practical session. So we're going on this.
Tene ta hinji de koron nangse le ye na hinji de le sum those.
If we now expand it, we have three kind of compassion.
Tangbo de semjin le mebe hinji res.
The first one is compassion towards beings.
Nimba de chula mebe hinji res.
Second is compassion towards all phenomena.
Somebody mikpa mepe hinjires.
And the third is compassion out of devoid of reference or objectless compassion.
Ah, yeah. That in the cheper the carriage also hinji korongo ngola cheper yomares.
In the essence of compassion itself, there is no difference.
하늘세나 hinji chimbo yinanda chungchong yinanda semche lemi ba chule mi ba sombo kangrang yiname nang dona hinji ngo de carriage na semche tomji denghan tong denghan ko jodo che ba travarndo pe ko loteres.
When we talk about this compassion, there is no difference in essence because no matter you are having this for a small reason or the bigger one, but still there is that one motivation which is to bring or to
It's
make
like
free all these sentient beings from the suffering.
Yeah. The nature of compassion is the same, but aspect is two differences, right? So nature of compassion is like just making wish that may all living beings be free from sufferings and causes of suffering. That is the compassion. So therefore, although there are three types of compassions, but the nature is same. But why there are three types is because of object that focuses on different references. That's why it becomes three. Temba songsam, the tangbo te semchi le mi pa se du tan de la gomba lancer te chepar yore te ta korong chese greco. Dona dino chik sumba na yi ke semchi de yawa ma se to ne semchi zamla me ne hinji chi ya na de yor.
There are lots of ways of translating it, or there are lots of commentaries which has different expression to it. But in the, if we have to conclude it, or if we have to say in a short way, it is always focused toward the sentient beings or living beings. That's why it's called compassion towards living beings.
That means the sentient beings caught in the sufferings and causes of sufferings, right? So we're making wish to there be free from cyclic existence and cause of that. That is the first one, just sentient beings. Or on the other hand, we can explain in other way. Rishi Jatam call and Yamba Kandasena, Penna. So Dangharji around you to Chubiki, Samchin, Teyon, Nanson Sumbi Samchin Lotso, make ne, then Ninji Tombo, Samchin maybe Ninji Tinyoni Janki Yores.
And if we go in a different way of expressing it, there is suffering of suffering. And those suffering of suffering is especially faced in the lower three realms.
Oh, Tinda Wachil, make me, Tita Wiki, Danghan Chironji to Chubiki, then Rovati, Rova right talking on the Missy Sol Chayasina. Son Botel in Basson, Tele Maini, Danga Jodajiba, Tandrawa show, Sambeke, Lotres.
And we are generating compassion towards the three lower realms, and we are praying, or we are wishing them to be free from those kind of suffering, which is the first compassion.
Tennis Nibati Karesena. Njorwa danghan karangi to chiba danghan samkun njorwa danghan karangi to chiba semchin so te tashi on de pena thori le ne be semchin tera thamche njorwa danghan karangi yimba sonsam o tera thamche danghan to tandra wa shu sam lo tres.
And the second way of looking at it is that the suffering of chains, which is normally faced in the higher three realms like human, demigod, and God, and we are having that compassion towards them to be free from the suffering of chains.
The suffering of change means like at the moment when we look at the like three higher realms, they are quite happy and they are living like how to say joyful, but it is subject to change. Like for example, someone is healthy and happy, everything is okay. But the next moment, nobody knows what will happen to that person. Maybe he will die, some kind of serious heart attack or whatever. So that is suffering of change. Chansam, te so mata parongi basonsam, tene, tanda chile mata bi chap dewa chile me tene, tinji the gonguyores.
When we look at the three realms, upper realms, it looks like we are having a joyful life. But if we see the nature of it, it is always the subject to change. And realizing that the change itself, we are having that compassion towards them to be free from even those subject to change or change of suffering of change.
Yeah. Suffering means actually, although already I have sufferings, but plus extra sufferings. In generally speaking, we say that kind of suffering experienced by three lower realms, right? They have more serious sufferings. But of course, we also have samsara is naturally suffering, right? Beings suffer by these things. But plus, serious sick, or maybe missing some loved ones, like family members, that become plus suffering. So becomes suffering for the higher realms. So tene dengan injover dengan te so thori san mi yores te mata barong ji chele me ne nga sun don na injover rong ji chimba songsam te ro me wa sho so ne te joto che ba tan ro wa sho so ba ki lo tres jodo sa san de na.
We're going to repeat it again. We have this suffering of change in the three realms, and especially why we are having this compassion towards this is that it is subject to change and it is causing us suffering. So visualizing it or seeing it, we are wishing or we are having that great compassion to make them free from those suffering.
Tene chapan duzi ji dang han se ya te ta te chi thawa te res thawa tene duzi yimba cham chi ne duzi ji rong yimba song sam tene te ka se thok thok tu da the mikpa maybe hinji se ya te so the kawala me shore se na tene chapan duzi ji dang han garang yimba tanda chi le make ne tene hinji chi ya res.
And when we say the objectless compassion, it is a little bit subtle because it's not easy to see. And it is the subject that we are, all pervading suffering, suffering that is all pervading suffering in the making. This is like that. So it is already there, but we are not being able to see. So we are focusing on that and having that compassion.
Take yortis, mi yorchi yoro, mi pa maybe hinji, mi yorte, tata tina yung koala ne patsam jita, the trumtat go ni yang, the chepan the yang, on the nayon koala nebe semchi, some maimpa, mix a getting ya, papasa top sayuna yon donna, sanji compo matap, ki seta, ki tas semchi senas and dragon, draw tanda chigla, make the hinji check yores.
And when we say objectless compassion, it is not limited to sentient beings or sentient beings in the lower realms or the middle realms, but it is even aimed, or it is for all the beings which has not yet obtained the fully enlightenment.
Even it can be object of the pervading compassion. The object of that can be like bodhisattvas as well. You might be shocked, like a person like us, we practice this kind of compassion. If we feel that great bodhisattvas to be free from sufferings and cause of sufferings. It sounds like funny, but of course they are not fully enlightened. That means there is problems. Yeah, you agree, right? Yeah. We can, for example, we can generate compassion, that kind of compassion towards Avalokiteshvara, because he is not fully enlightened. And that means there is some obstacles or obscurations to get enlightenment. As long as you have that kind of obscurations, and there might be some problems. So we are making wish that may whoever have that kind of subtle types of the cause of the sufferings, may they be free from that, and may they become completely, fully enlightened and fully realized. So that is the last compassion. And some, then the hinji corrupts lapsares, then the tangazo hinji nyomlins or tonko tetes gum going those.
Now we have basically heard about the compassion itself. Now we will go with the practical section.
Junsen karesena, naso katse he, katse lab deva yina yang, kaka katse he by yina, nyomlin cheni gum maja by yina, kange ti tu noyong as a setagumares.
The why we are going to practice in practically is that no matter how much we know about compassion or how much we know about any knowledge, if we don't apply it, it's not going to work.
Temba sunsam, penanga sunam shigre, tuta shishitawa, gomta nyumon me passe, dodo kala gorsena, gom jabayina, nasu nyumon pong togres, nyumon pong zet chala de yashu, the gom de res, nimbo yashit. Then gam majabayina, nyumon tunoyon pong togomare, nyumon mabombayina, Damhana yobare, kanga yobare, temba sunsam, nyumon pong versebal, nasu gom jagores.
So, to avoid any sort of negative qualities that we possess, we always have to meditate. If we don't meditate, then we cannot avoid or we cannot eradicate those things from ourselves. So, if we cannot meditate, then we cannot prevent those things. If we cannot prevent those things, then they will make us suffer. That's why we have to meditate.
The best, only single method or antidote or remedy for defilements is the meditation. Or whatever you have learned, listen from Master or the Buddha Dhamma, right? So therefore, the meditation is very, very important to be free from suffering. Without meditation, we cannot eliminate or purifying our defilements and the negative emotions. So therefore, meditation is very important. Even we talk at ages and years about the Dharma, and if we listen, but if we don't do meditation, whatever we have listened, there's no much benefit to overcoming our afflicted emotions. Therefore, meditation is very, very important. Therefore, we are going to practice compassion-based, meditation based on compassion, because today's topic is compassion, right? Oh, obvious. Ta mambo shuji shi de de na ma nyobro ko na shi ji mare te mo son son this fresh chaya che dol dong ji ge ins.
If we just explain a lot and a lot and a lot, then you might get bored. So I'm going to tell you a story.
Because this morning you had class, and at the moment we are having class, afternoon we are going to have another class. So it's too long. I feel it's too long for you. Therefore, I want to share a little bit kind of joke. It's not joke. It's a real happened, but it's like joke. Okay, that will wake you up.
Once upon a time, one.
Already joke.
Once upon a time, there was one Lama who was giving his teaching.
And Lama
that Lama is very serious practitioner with a great devotion, great motivation, and great devotee
towards the Dharma. Then kon karisam sin that sama tendaw insurance. Kan karisam kon tepa mugu yoba son sam. Chu she ya la kange san mere kon.
So
냠니
what he used to think is everyone is just like him, because whenever he is hearing about dharma or sharing dharma, there is no limit to it. He can go on and on.
he didn't feel any difficulties to practice dharma. He can spend hours and hours of practice and teaching and practice. 대고 콩 추송될 때는 I'm 무슨 콩에 배 딥만로네 나는 가시송레스.
While he was giving a teaching, he went too deep down to the teaching.
And then deep down 차타지는 메커랑 안로 짠 시레스.
As he was in very deep concentration, then he started to close his eyes and share his knowledge in this way.
단 고조도 가시온 고조도 몇만번 잠레스.
While he was starting to give a teaching, there were lots of people.
얘네 딱 겹저러 배치면 인사한테 콩 쟁파 짠 즉시 제시의 하람 추서 같이 시작했어.
And he was so much into the teaching, that's why he just closed his eyes and he started teaching. And he was like this hours and hours. He went on.
대나 콩 안로 쟁쟁 다운데 몇째 라요 말했어. 로사레스.
Then when he just opened his eyes, then he realized that there is no one.
Nobody's, everyone gone because too. 텐데 참 문돌리 텐데 레바요시.
And what we wish is it shouldn't happen like this here.
당가서 닌지 감고도 닌지세 딱인 개체물을 납사래. 되는 닌지 야보지 매바이나야. 추생케이나 안다. 인직디 쟁케이나 안다. 야보 작은 말이스.
Now we have already explained about compassion. This compassion is very important whether you are trying to be in samsaric world or you are a practitioner.
추생케이나 상지지 광풍 톱거나 상초샘에는 문득 상초샘 줄을 지어와라 다기 라바 낭지라 닌지디 짜와인데 다 특바침부 추생케이라 다 메타메바드 닌지레스.
And if you want to be a great practitioner or you want to attain the Buddhahood, for that we need to practice compassion. Without compassion, there is no bodhicitta, there is no bodhisattva. So, as we are in the greater vehicle, it is the most important factor for us.
되네 직딩 바지 인바이나 추생케지 미나야 닌지 메바이나 소소나도 소나 짠똥 말했어 디메디.
Even we consider ourselves as samsaric, if we don't have the compassion, then we will only think about ourselves.
되네 옛날에 체사는 밀다가지 주마다 파요도 소소고 번자 님생 판마 라용소노마 동송도 디메디 가디나 메 장보제도 메 야고제도 진초노라 간세 그래고 자발롬로 용야지 짱 용야메레스.
Then in general, if you cannot generate compassion for other people, that's also okay. But if you start to, feel so selfish that you can even care or even think for your own families, then you are going to be known as a very selfish person, as well as you are not going to have a greater life. Then everybody will say that you are such a mischief.
되네 닌지 여바이나 메 참아 그 땡하 동사지 자그레스티.
And if you have that great compassion, then all people will like you and everybody will praise you.
Everybody will say, "Oh, he's so compassionate, so kind." Then everybody will like. 되네 맞은 직대인디는 며칠 success 차고는 매 예막 support 트라이한테 패키징 보려 마도 캐르마치 차야세요 요 말했어.
And even if you think about this mundane success, we need a lot of people or a lot of supportive system to back us up. For that, we need to have that great compassion.
No one can be success without dependent others' support. There's no way. Right? 배차자와이나 랍사라. 배차자와이나 직등인디 토라 저랑 야, 총래 빠지나 총 잡고 그 요나요. 뺀 총콩라고 지고 쳐봐요. 자항라고 지고 세봐요. 양 매 옌바 뺀 커스터머 세 용고도 이 서포트 메나 총 람자 주야 파자 총 거리자래마도 총고 고자고 연다고 자그레스.
Even if you consider about your business or your store or even your restaurant, if other people don't come there, then you just have to close your door. There's no other way.
전산 매 옌바키다 서포트 빼 개체 뭐 차디레스 딘라 서포트 라고나 메텔레 장보지 인지연키 단라지 메바이나 데 정말 조용도 그랬어.
So any sort of success you need in life, we need support from other people. So if we cannot have the support from any people, then we are not going to succeed in any sort of life.
데인데 다 맞아 인지 여와서 그래. 인지 여와서도 되네. 인지 감고 그랬어.
That's why if you want any sort of support, then we need to have a compassion and we need to practice it.
냠랭 감 잡아야나 인지 지야래 깔래요 말했어.
If we practice, if we contemplate, if we meditate, then it's not that hard.
인지 갈래 지용랬어.
Gradually, we will be able to develop that compassion.
인지 감도 간도스 감 거세나 레 동보 바까 담보 니네 샘지 탐제를 깨지를 인지 감한테 데스 갈래요랬어.
As we are beginner practitioner, we cannot generate bodhicitta for everyone immediately.
compassion. 대마 송삼 동보 레라사 소소 그 제와 여사 쿨동 여사 긴 여사 세그라다 주도는 마선 여사 제는 고속 토바이나 야그레스.
So, while beginning to practice the compassion, it is easier for us if we start with our loved ones or the closed ones.
벤나 남주 용달랑 가서 가르쳐 그러세나 파마니 디노네 만다오 제일라 니지 가면 고속 그레스 여체 니지 여체네.
In generally, when we practice compassion, we start with especially our father and mother, but especially our mother.
가르세나 마데 빼 메시링 가서 춘지 때 가르토는 솜노 동바이나 메시 인들라 제완들라 가든 침보 차디어레스.
Because the mother is the one who is most compassionate towards ourselves, and she has the greatest role to make us who we are.
젠삼 때네 마는 고존이 니지 감거레스.
So we start to meditate compassion starting with our mother.
뺀 마티 숨보 여바이나한다 다 저런 감 니지 감거네 때는 다 사찰에 땀을 제발 매래 때는 디스트럽도 메사 감자사 야포 그 심보 나오지라 되네 되네 마티 숨보 여바이나한다 숨보 매바이나한다로 아니 마티 에메지여라고 야포지 롤 샤르지.
So when we practice this meditation of compassion, especially it doesn't matter wherever you are going to sit, but if you could find the place where there is no loud noises, you can just be calm and you can start meditate. You first visualize your mom, whether you have your mom or she has already passed away, it doesn't matter, but visualize her in a really beautiful form.
The reflection of the mother image be nang sharta sombo nang you shart up ra typical chimbores.
And to visualize our mother in a very clear way is very important.
Tine ta amati cutting chimbo imba some gores tombo kanse gre ko yid onwa chi gam ko yat pe chimbores yid onwa se lo la papo tebo chada ama yen do yong ro te ina yo par do chi kanse gre lo la papo yong ya chi pe chimbores.
So we have to visualize so clear and beautifully that we feel goosebump, feeling our mother.
Yeah, kanse lo la ma ba yin hinji gam do yo mar singa sinom ji se ge yo hinji da pa yo o mit do ja shin da yin korong trog me do sian da yo ti da ma yin ba ti opposite da da cha gra yi do ma lo la pa po je yen then naturally gam ja ya pe le la yong res.
If we cannot have that clarity, then we cannot meditate. So for that, we need to have that clear visualization so we can meditate better.
Kasi pen pe cha ya wan lu lu ma ba khel nga so ro ba ja ni to gam ja ni to ni ji gam ni to gi ma da o tik ta ta opposite cha di res.
So if we don't like, we have to like that person. If we don't like that person, then we cannot really do any benefit to that person, or we don't even think about it.
Usually we used to say that I don't want to see that person when you don't like someone else, right? And I don't want to talk to them. Of course, then you don't want to help or you don't want to practice compassion towards that person. So therefore, to generate mind that to like that person, like mother in mind is very important. Tene, ta tene tombo amati yabu idongwa che idongwa dare ta gamni tene karagora sena ramba yendo tene cutting some grace.
First, we visualize our mother, then we start to think about the things that she had done to us.
Ta cutting some no to lose sembek cutting say a yore, tene so sembek cutting say a yore, tene tsindi togu ton tama ta amakte onjin rauch res.
So when we think about her favors in our life, first of all, she gave the birth to us, and after that, she fed us, and she teach us how to go in this world. She has done a lot.
Tene te tsam do maze pa ke ta tate ke tsawi ke amasegra lutin di thola root mother reti ina yung past life la pa mombo marang rang ama mombo zo cha yores.
And if we think about it, for this time, if we see our mother has such a great favor on us, and if we think in a grand way, then we had so many mothers just like her
In the past life,
in past life.
morong chikpo chewa mombo la ama zo cha yores ben hiting no song yor tendo.
And just that mother who is our mother in present, she also might have been our mother for several times.
Not only several times, many times in Nagajuna's letter to his friend said, even the whole world comes in Zambling Sun, Ruzu Niro, Sipa Yinayong, Semjin chicken ding Mama Amazu Sinayo, Sat and Zambling ball out in the Ruzu Trankatsina, Sai Tranka Zotadi, Semjin check Amazu Tranka Zotokumarisong.
And if we think about with the example that if we make a small round, what do you call ball?
Bill.
Yeah, pill. Yeah, just like a pill. Then if we collect it, and it might be bigger than the Mount Meru, but still our mother, what we have, is not finished, or there have been mother over that period.
Jansam, that then Pamazodi capsula, Amazodi capsula, that Kadenchimbo, Pen, Puguk Chedal and Sam Sala, so and Tongo Yores.
We have to feel the favor of our mother, because sometimes for the sake of the child, mother sometimes give their, even they are ready to give their life, or they have given their life.
Pecha Javayana, Tongondo, Tivitos on the Tadu, Radatos, Jenzin, Radatos, Pugasun Chopche, Jenzin Tato, Zetos, Let Pugasachis, or the Amak Pugazan, Lumotone, Ama Shagu Kigandoas.
For example, even when we watch in the television that some animals, when the tigers and all the lions, they attack their child or their calves, they give their life off to protect their child.
Jenzam, Tatoso Mambo, Chisom Notonde, Amati Kadenchimbo in Baha Korchene, Ani, Takaden the country to go to the Sena, then Tata Ama. Danghang Kanon, long they were hack over the chair on, then Hova Danghang. Then the Dangha Jundeni to Tower, Dunga Jundeni on Tragogando, Trataber Sagiting around and Gainrendo, Sonny, Konutandach Progress.
For the reason that she has had so much of favor, just like our mother had so many favor to us, understanding that now we are generating that kindness or their compassion towards her, because she is in the samsaric existence right now, and we want to liberate them from the samsaric existence, and we have that motivation or kindness or compassion to liberate her from that suffering.
Tine kasi talay ngarang ki ti kanse gre amala dangha do ta dewa don de ki jochi te ma thabayina tine jewa maung pala yang tine phamandara dangha nyong rosare somni mixe ni ji gres.
So now what we think is, in this lifetime, if I cannot liberate her from this suffering, um, in the future lives, it might be also the same case. We won't be able to help her in any ways.
Tene ta jewa tene mun ma nyong so yina tene khorwan thar me ba cha do te ba son sa ama nyeng ji samyan raw sen leb gres.
So if we keep on being just like this right now, then we will be roaming around in this cyclic existence and again. So we understanding
Ama.
this, we think about mother's favor and we meditate on that.
Yeah, if I could not liberate her from the samsara now, she might, she might suffer again and again in the samsara. So therefore, today I really pity, I really, how to say, from my depth of the heart, I generate my compassion towards my kindly mother. I know you have been so kind towards me, not only for this life, many lifetimes. Therefore, today I generate my compassion towards you. Basically meaning, may you be free from suffering and the cause of the suffering. Please, I like, that kind of compassion from your heart towards the mother is very important. So we should do this kind of meditation. Please, you generate that, whatever I have mentioned, put on your mind and practice compassion. Very good. Okay. There is practice compassion for his mother, of course, fathers also. 간세나 티 피레스 동부 피세나면도 다 간세 그러고 아마니 nguzuya de le tongbo pala for beginners le lagres tene kale tene patong tene nam tong se ando tene yom jachere tong ya ten tato semji tamji le chapter ya ninji jegres.
Why we did is this is for example, because as we are beginner, it is difficult for us to generate compassion towards other people or all the people. So for that, we generate compassion towards our mother. Then we try to extend our horizon with father. Then we go to relative or our friends. Then we expand it to all living beings. And for that, we practice this.
Okay, tene train tena ya 200 yantis gamakashindos.
So today we are going to end our session here. If there is any question, you can ask.
Hello. Hello. Thank you. Was very interesting. I wanted to ask, and sorry about my language. In my case, my mom wasn't there. It was my father. She don't raise us. She was disappear, and she came a few years ago, and I forgive her. We talk, but this is still a cold relationship. I'm still needs to do the meditation when I think of her, or what I need to do.
Te gansena jumsi mumbo yores tambo te ganse amakadeng chimbo imbo tambo te yewa ndatsa ma imbe yewa mumbo la amazo yores te chikres nimba te rong tata na chu shu yongya la soba yoju mesende amak teres yina yong parta ne amala ne res chenke te abayin 이 초롱님 찍시나 레 강탄 된다고 인지레스 간단나용 충청 가서 아마도 스테이스 카트라네 에네 야레스 마즈와틸 쌈노소노 토니 카렌칭 보미상야 탄메레스타.
As we are practicing to generate compassion towards our mother, it's not only about thinking about this lifetime, because she has been your mother in lots of time in the past. And if we think about this life itself, then she has given you birth. That means you are being able to be here and you are being able to practice. This is also one of the privilege. And sometimes because of the karmic results or the karmas that we have in our past, we have to face situations like this.
In the Lord Jung teaching, it is said that when we face the difficulties from other people, we should not think that he or she is not good as my enemy, because you have to blame into one, that is our ego. Means our enemies, really, they have been so kind to us from the past life, but we have never been paid back to their kindness. Then the karmic links very strong, and they become automatically like enemies for us, right? So the problem is because of my ego. She or he has been so kind to me in past, but I have never repaid back because of my ego. And then this is kind of karmic link, a karmic learn. The plan of Charis Lake, the plan wrong you tell you what is the lake plan, draining that can't and done of Chaya Yungu. The courage and the plan, the chas on the same dry chayati, around the danzi telete and Johnson by Yamba Sonson, John Somati danzi the rest.
And talking about our karmic results, sometimes we have had so many karmas in our past, and we are carrying that karmic debt, you know. So the karmic debt is created by our ego. That's why it's always there. So we have to pay it in different periods of time. So it is important to understand that it is our ego, not the outer situation that is coming up is the problem.
In Shanti Deva's teaching, said and mentioned that enemies are very, very kind towards us for enlightenment. Why? To get complete enlightenment, we must, it's compulsory to complete a completion 6 parameters. One of the most important parameter is the patience. So object of pension is enemies. So they are giving us good chance, opportunity to practice the patience. So indirectly, they are the cause for enlightenment. So in your case, even though your mother is not so, if not, or giving some problems to you, you can practice that kind of, kind towards her and understanding the karmic link. Okay. Tar chu chini se be gebe zawan din chen be da yin sem ji tham je je tu sam do sa be gebe zawa chini je se ba tham je lu je du du de nang kwa do nyam be sem ji tham je tu za la na man ji ba yong da bo zo be song je je kong bo rom bo ji to ba sa we je do ngo wa do ma lam sam lin je do no er shu so no de ye tham je zi ba ni thop ne ni be dra na pham si Jega nanche balap trubai siben sole ro non ro wa shu.
Dear friends, a new announcement for tomorrow. If any of you would like to get to know Kibi a little bit better, meaning would like to join a tour that will be guided and organized by us to learn a little bit about the history and the past of Kibi, you are very welcome to join. Most probably during upcoming week we will organize 2, maybe 3 tours like that, and one of them will happen tomorrow at 2 p.m. after lunch. We will meet at the information center where you just arrived, and then we will try to organize 2 or 3 groups during the